Welcome to Slow English. There is something nobody tells you about healing. It does not feel like getting better. Most of the time, it feels like nothing. It feels like a very ordinary Tuesday. It feels like making coffee. It feels like sitting near a window and watching the street outside. It feels like existing, quietly, slowly, without knowing if anything is actually changing inside you. And maybe that is the most uncomfortable truth of all. We expect healing to feel like something. We expect a moment, a turning point, a day when we wake up and say, yes, today something is different. But for most people, most of the time, healing does not announce itself. It does not arrive with clarity. It comes quietly, almost secretly, and by the time you notice it, it has already been happening for a long time. Tonight, we are going to sit with that, slowly, without rushing to the answer. A normal morning. It is a Saturday morning. You wake up before your alarm. The room is still dark. You lie there for a moment, not quite awake, not quite asleep. There is no emergency. There is nowhere you have to be. And yet something sits heavy in your chest. You reach for your phone, not because you want to, just because it is there. You scroll without really reading. Someone is traveling. Someone got a new job. Someone is getting married. You put the phone down. You feel something. Not quite sadness. Not quite loneliness. Something that does not have a clean word. You get up. You go to the kitchen. You boil water. You watch the small bubbles form at the bottom of the pan before the water gets hot. You pour it slowly. You hold the cup with both hands. And in this very ordinary moment, something is happening inside you that you cannot see. That is the strange thing about healing. It happens in the kitchen. It happens in the small silences between one task and the next. It happens on the bus, staring out the window. It happens at 11 o'clock at night when you sit on the edge of your bed, feeling nothing in particular, and then go to sleep anyway. Nobody makes a video about this moment. Nobody talks about the long, quiet middle part. The feeling of being stuck there is a feeling that many adults carry quietly. It is not depression exactly. It is not anxiety exactly. It is something softer than those words, and also more persistent. It is the feeling that you are behind. Not behind in a specific way, not behind on a deadline or a project, but behind in life somehow. Like everyone around you has found their rhythm, and you are still searching for yours. Like other people your age have built something solid, a relationship, a career, a sense of who they are, and you are still living in the draft version of yourself. You watch someone speak confidently in a meeting, and you wonder, when did they learn to do that? You see a couple walking together, comfortable and quiet with each other, and something aches in a way you cannot explain. You hear about someone's success, and you feel two things at the same time: happiness for them and a quiet, private shame that you are not further along. This is not jealousy exactly. It is more like fear wearing the mask of comparison. The fear that time is passing. The fear that the window for certain things is slowly closing. The fear that one day you will look back and see clearly all the time you had and did not use well. This fear is very common, almost universal among adults in their 30s and 40s. But it lives quietly. People do not often say it out loud, because to say it out loud feels like admitting something embarrassing, something that suggests you are failing. So it lives inside, heavy and silent, and it makes the ordinary moments, the Saturday mornings, the cups of coffee, the lying awake before sleep, feel lonelier than they need to be. What we think healing looks like. We have been given a story about healing. The story goes like this. Something hard happens to you. You struggle. You suffer. Therapy, or journaling, or meditation, or long conversations with people you trust. And slowly, through effort and reflection, you arrive somewhere better. You close a chapter. You grow. You move on. It is a clean story. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. The problem is that real healing rarely follows this shape. Real healing is messier. It goes backwards sometimes. You think you have understood something, and then 3 weeks later, the old feeling returns, familiar and unwelcome, and you wonder if you have made any progress at all. You have a good month, and then a hard week. You feel lighter. And then something small happens. A conversation, a song on the radio, a smell, and suddenly you are back in the feeling you thought you had moved past. This is not failure, but it feels like failure. And that confusion between real healing and its appearance is something that causes a particular quiet kind of suffering. Because when healing does not look like the story we were told, we conclude that we are doing it wrong, that we are too broken, or not trying hard enough, or too far gone. And so, we carry shame about the very process that is actually working in us, slowly beneath the surface. Two uncomfortable truths. Let me say something that is not comfortable to hear. The first truth is this. Some things do not fully heal. There are experiences that change you permanently. A loss, a betrayal, a period of your life that took something from you that does not come back. And the honest thing, the psychologically true thing, is that healing from these experiences does not mean returning to who you were before. It means slowly, gradually, learning to carry what happened without being crushed by it. It means building a life that has room for the wound, that does not pretend the wound is not there. This is harder than the promise of full recovery. But it is also, strangely, more freeing, because when you stop waiting to be completely fixed, you can start actually living. The second truth is harder. Most of the time, we are not as self-aware as we think we are. We believe we understand ourselves. We believe we know our patterns, our wounds, our tendencies. We have thought about ourselves a great deal. We have read things, reflected on things, talked about things, and yet we still repeat the same patterns. We still react in the same ways under pressure. We still reach for the same emotional exits when things get difficult. This is not stupidity. It is just how humans are built. Understanding something in your mind and changing it in your body, in your habits, in your nervous system, these are two completely different processes. And the second is much, much slower than the first. Healing is not mostly a mental event. It is mostly a slow, bodily, lived event. It happens through experience, through new experiences that slowly overwrite old ones, through small moments of safety, through relationships where you feel, over time, that you are not going to be abandoned or hurt in the old ways, through your own behavior, when you choose again and again to act from the person you are becoming rather than the person you were. And this takes time that cannot be rushed. The quiet middle. Let us go back to the Saturday morning. You are still holding your coffee. The light outside is pale. A bird is somewhere nearby. You can hear traffic at a distance. You are not happy, exactly. You are not suffering, exactly. You are simply here, present in a moment that is not remarkable, present in a life that is still unfinished, still uncertain, still containing more questions than answers. And something in this moment is important, not because it is beautiful, not because it is a turning point, but because it is real, because you are in it and you are still here and you are awake enough to notice it. And that, as small and ordinary as it sounds, is not nothing. There is a kind of person who believes that if they are not in pain, they must not be growing. They are comfortable with suffering because suffering feels serious, feels real, feels like evidence that something important is happening. But quiet days confuse them. Calm periods make them anxious. They wonder, am I getting too comfortable? Am I avoiding something? This is its own trap. Because healing also looks like calm. It also looks like a quiet Saturday morning where nothing particularly happens. It also looks like having a normal conversation without something old being triggered. It looks like getting through a week without the old weight returning. It looks like slowly needing less from outside yourself, less reassurance, less noise, less distraction, because something inside has become very slightly more stable. You do not recognize these things as progress while they are happening. You only see them later, looking back. What changes slowly? Think about a year ago. 2 years ago. Think about something that used to hurt you, a thought, a situation, a kind of memory that perhaps hurts a little less now. Not because you solved it, not because you finally understood it completely, but because time passed and you lived through it and something shifted without you noticing. This is real. This happened, and you did not see it happening. You were too close to it. You were inside it. All you saw was the ordinary days passing, the mornings, the work, the conversations, the long, quiet evenings, and you thought nothing was changing. But something was. That something is what we are talking about tonight. It does not have a dramatic name. It does not have a clean definition. It is not a concept you can explain easily to another person. It is just the slow, invisible, biological, emotional, deeply human process of absorbing what has happened to you, and very gradually, over a long time, making more room inside yourself for life to continue. It is not beautiful exactly, but it is real, and it is happening even when you cannot feel it. The night you almost gave up on yourself, there was probably a night, maybe more than one. A night when you sat somewhere, your car, your bathroom floor, your bedroom with the lights off, and you felt something very close to giving up. Not giving up on life necessarily, but giving up on the idea that you would ever feel okay. Giving up on the belief that things could be genuinely different. Giving up on yourself, quietly, without telling anyone. You got through that night. You got up the next morning. You had coffee. You went somewhere. You did the ordinary things. Maybe it was hard. Maybe you felt hollow for a while, but you kept going. Not because you were brave, not because you had a plan, but simply because stopping did not feel like a real option. And here you are. That sounds like such a small thing when I say it like that. Here you are. But it is not small. It is the most real thing I can say. You are still inside your life. You have not left. And all the mornings between that difficult night and this one, all the coffees, all the ordinary hours, all the slow and unremarkable days, they were all part of something, even the ones that felt like nothing, especially those. A softer way of seeing yourself. There is a way that many people talk to themselves that they would never use with anyone else. Hard, critical, impatient. A voice that notices every mistake, every wasted hour, every moment of weakness. A voice that keeps a careful account of all the ways you are not enough, not productive enough, not healed enough, not far enough along. This voice feels like honesty. It feels like it is keeping you accountable. But mostly, it is just a very old habit. A voice that learned long ago to be critical before anything else could be critical of you. A kind of preemptive disappointment. And the difficult thing is that this voice does not help. It does not make you heal faster. It does not make you more aware. It mostly just makes the process of being alive more exhausting and makes the quiet moments, the moments when healing actually happens, feel threatening rather than restful. You do not have to silence this voice completely. That is not realistic. But perhaps, very slowly, you can begin to notice when it arrives. To hear it without immediately believing every word it says. To let it speak, and then wait a moment and ask quietly, is this actually true? Or is this the old habit? That question, small and patient, asked again and again over many months, that is also part of healing. Ending. The light on Saturday morning. The morning is lighter now. You have finished your coffee. The cup is empty and slightly warm still. The street outside is a little louder. A car, someone walking a dog, a door opening and closing somewhere nearby. You are not fixed. You know that. There are still things inside you that are unresolved. Still old feelings that can return without much warning. Still mornings when the weight is heavier than usual, and you cannot explain why. But you are still here, and you are more than you were. Not in a dramatic way, not in a way that others would necessarily see, but in the quiet, private, interior way that matters most, the way that belongs only to you. Healing is not a destination. It is more like a direction, a very slow walk in the direction of being more at home in yourself. Some days you walk forward, some days you stand still. Some days you take a few steps backward before finding your footing again. But the direction remains, and you remain in it. That is enough for a Saturday morning. That is enough for right now. Thank you for listening. Take care of yourself tonight.